Well, hello again. I finally got a request from someone that is actually anatomically possible. Now, and that was just to have a little bit of a look at this this bit of info here. This is from the U.S. Department of Defense. It's from the 8th of November this year, and it refers to the upcoming departure of All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO Director Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Yes, he's pulled the plug. He's had enough of arguing with David Grush, apparently. Now, I don't know why no one gets them both at the same table at the same time, you know, on the TV, on a YouTube channel, something like that, because there's an awful lot of he said, she said, isn't it, you know? So Grush is saying, well, you know, I've tried contacting him, or I've contacted him, but he's never got back to me. And Dr. Kirkpatrick is saying, well, he's never heard from him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's how I understand it anyway. It's all rather confusing, really, isn't it? Now, there are 4 candidates, apparently, to being considered for Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick's replacement. And I sincerely hope, I really hope that one of them is not Dr. Travis Taylor. Because having seen some of the stuff he's done with his Tesla program and his Skinwalker Ranch, it's complete and utter nonsense. Complete and utter rubbish. So if Travis Taylor becomes the new director of AARO, there's going to be all kinds of science fiction stories coming out of that place. People are going to be chasing their tails around forever, because he's going to corroborate all this stuff spruiked by the usual suspects that have been spruiking this complete and utter rubbish about ET visitation and reverse engineering of alien spacecraft for years, if not decades. I'm sure I don't need to name them. I'm sure you know who they are. But there's a few names that come up all the time, and I'm not talking about Bob Lazar, who has been hiding under the table ever since he found out Congress have got a bit of an interest in getting to the bottom of this. Perhaps unsurprisingly, if you know anything about Bob Lazar's history. So, yeah, put a line through anything Bob Lazar's got to say about UFOs, ET, or any of that sort of stuff. Drop him in the same basket as Stephen Greer. And Richard Dolan as well. It's all rubbish. Complete and utter twaddle. Okay, so what does this say? Remember, this is from the US Defense Department. All-Domain, and sorry about the terrible production quality, it's still camera on screen again. All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO Director Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick announced that he will retire from the Federal Service in December. Now, I did actually see a video interview, and I should have saved it or liked it or something, because I can't find it again, but one of the interviewers said to him, what did David Grush have to say? And he said, I can't comment on what David Grush may have said to other people. Now, the interviewer, particularly poor interviewer, didn't then say to him, well, can you comment on what he said to you? And that's what I would have said. But that went right through to the keeper. Yeah, I thought, what on earth is going on here, you know? No pun intended. But do I think there's any reverse engineering of alien spacecraft going on? Certainly not. Ross Coulthard still hasn't told us about his Texas alien ball being a ball check valve made in the good old US of A. And he's still trying to keep all this UFO ET nonsense alive because he's got books to sell. Okay, so basically, this is just a little bit of fluff saying thanks very much, Dr. Kirkpatrick. During his distinguished 27-year career of public service in the Department of Defense, the United States intelligence community, and since assuming leadership of AARO, Dr. Kirkpatrick has served the American people with honesty and integrity, tackling an incredibly difficult mission to explain the unknown. During his tenure, Dr. Kirkpatrick stood up the office and its operations, investigated more than 800 unidentified anomalous phenomena. Sorry about this, I'm reading it through the camera viewfinder as usual. UAP cases, led an extensive search for US government and contractor programs associated with UAP, and established the department's first public-facing website to bring greater transparency to the department's work. So it goes on to say that his commitment to transparency within the United States Congress and the American public on UAP leaves a legacy the department will carry forward as AARO continues its mission. The department is stronger and better prepared for future scientific and national security challenges because of Sean's distinguished service to our country. Now, remember what I was saying about Travis Taylor? Apparently there's 4 people being considered for this. Let's just hope Travis Taylor is not one of them, because he was a senior scientific advisor to AARO or ATIP or one of these blooming UFO programs at the Pentagon. And if he steps into Dr. Kirkpatrick's shoes, then it's just going to be it'll be party time at all the houses of all the UFO fanboys. There'll be whoopee whistles and paper hats all around. But what we won't be getting is the truth, and the truth is what Dr. Kirkpatrick has already stated, that AARO has found no convincing evidence that there are any reverse engineering programs, that ET has been here at all, that any of the anomalous stuff observed, tracked, recorded is extraterrestrial or is technology that defies the current laws of physics. Nothing to see here. So okay, so that's Dr. Kirkpatrick and AARO, leaving AARO. Now, there's a couple of other interesting things that I thought I'd show you. One of them is... it's gone. It should be down the bottom, but it's gone. So, with my usual editing flair, I'm going to stop the recording there and find the bit I was looking for. Yeah, so I'm actually using Firefox instead of Chrome because I found that uBlock Origin works with Firefox, but it doesn't work with Chrome anymore. So rather than pay for the YouTube Premium, I thought I'd use Firefox, but it's clunky compared with Chrome, to be honest with you. I can't have the boxes open up along the bottom taskbar there and click on them, so I've got to go back into the favourites and then reopen it. And anyway, so Avi Loeb, you may remember Avi Loeb, the Harvard professor, who managed to convince somebody to, an anonymous billionaire, or did he name him? I can't remember now. Someone extremely rich anyway, to sum up $1.5 million so he could go and dredge the ocean floor just north of Papua New Guinea, where an interstellar object crashed into the ocean 9 years ago, I think. Anyway, so he sort of dragged a sledge along the bottom of the seafloor, covered in magnets, to see what he could get to stick to it. And he found these weird spherules. Now, a couple of things spring to mind here. Personally, I wouldn't expect to find any metal in an alien spacecraft. We've just started mucking around with graphene, one of these new super materials, 200 times stronger than steel, conducts like copper, wafer thin. It's not metal, but it's an ideal aerospace material, and we're just scratching the surface with these materials. Aliens that could get here would have materials that would make graphene look like balsa wood. So I wouldn't expect to find any metal in an alien spacecraft. That said, you know, it doesn't hurt to look. You know, if you don't look, you never know, do you? But, oh, this is from Popular Mechanics, by the way. Hang on, let's just get rid of that. So, what do we find out? And that is that Avi Loeb, unlike all the people that spruik all these science fiction stories about recovered alien spacecraft, made his samples available to be examined by other universities, by third parties. He's not sitting on it saying, I've got parts of an alien spacecraft and I'm not letting anybody confirm that or deny it. He said, okay, this is what we dredged up. Get it out there and let's get it analysed. And the analysis has come back. And they're not alien tech. Actually, to be fair, Avi Loeb had never said it was an alien spacecraft. He said it was an interstellar meteorite. So it wasn't alien technology at all. There seems to be confusion about that. Some of the media were saying that because Avi Loeb said it was interstellar, they immediately thought it was an interstellar spacecraft. And he's never said that. He's never claimed that. But anyway, so what were these things? Balls. These little balls here. Okay, so what do we see? The metallic spherules found by controversial Harvard physicist Avi Loeb and his team have been identified. Now, I thought it might have been debris from World War II. You know, aircraft shot down, ships sunk, something like that, because there was a material in there that was used in... They found traces of material in there that was actually used in World War II aircraft engines, and I thought, it's probably... These spherules have probably been made by Mitsubishi. But it turns out that they're probably not. It says, rather than turning out to be evidence of an interstellar object or alien construction, independent analysis has found that the spherules, this is another university professor, this is not someone like Kremlin Jones in a garden shed with a test tube and a PP3 battery. So independent analysis has found that the spherules are most likely coal ash from human industrial practices. The findings should serve as a reminder that more often than not, the underwhelming explanation is the true one. Back to Occam's razor, isn't it? Is it more likely to be an alien spacecraft, or is it more likely to be coal ash? Now remember, it was dredged up from the ocean floor north of Papua New Guinea, so yeah, steamships would have been going through there all the time. You know, they're burning coal to power steam engines on ships years ago, and they probably would have done ash dumps over the side. I would imagine that's what ships used to do back in those days. Now, what else we got here? It says, well, the saga of the mysterious metal spherules at the bottom of the sea appears to have come to a close. If you'll recall, a few months back, Avi Loeb, highly controversial Harvard physicist and very public member of the Aliens Are Here community, I don't think I've ever heard Avi Loeb say aliens are here. I think he's definitely very interested in the subject, and he's looking. He's looking. But I don't think I've ever heard him say aliens are here. Announced that he had found several small metallic spherules off the coast of Papua New Guinea with chemical compositions that are anomalous compared to human-made alloys, known asteroids and familiar astrophysical sources. Not so fast, Dr. Loeb. Oh dear. The broader scientific community was immediately sceptical of the claims, and it turns out, unsurprisingly, that it was for good reason. Recently, a paper published in the research notes of the American Astronomical Society showed that the chemical composition provided by Loeb's analysis match most closely not to interstellar space stuff but to human-produced coal ash. So there you go, ash tossed over the side from a steamship back in the day. It's probably what that is going to be, or even from the Second World War maybe. Second World War debris. Probably be an awful lot of it there that gets churned up and relayed and churned up and relayed. Okay, now Avi Loeb is a fanboy, alien fanboy. He's looking for those aliens. He's looking, and he's telling everybody what he's doing. There's none of this. He's not trying to create this air of I know something you don't know, like David Grush, you know, and these other whistleblowers. Oh, just talking about David Grush. Apparently, he can't. He wasn't able to give that. I can't remember her name now. Rather good-looking senator. The list of names of people that are have got first-hand experience working on these crash retrieval programs and equipment at the end of that Congress hearing, because it requires a skiff. Now he can't apparently enter a skiff because his clearance has expired. His military clearance has expired. Okay, doesn't make much sense to me. You would think that if your clearance has expired, any secrecy oaths would have expired with it. He could say what he likes. Personally, I think it's because it's all science fiction nonsense. And the reason that none of this is all coming forward is not because it's all super secret, and there's it's all buried in this, that, and the other. It's because it doesn't exist. It never has. And now all the people that have been claiming this for a very long time are trying to find ways of not having to stand in front of Congress and lie to them. That's what this is all about. And I think that's why Sean Kirkpatrick is leaving. I think he's had enough of the bullshit, to be honest. That's what I think his resignation is all about. Because he's probably saying, look, these people are talking absolute rubbish. This is all science fiction stories. Not one of them has presented a shred of tangible evidence. And you want me to waste my time with these guys? I quit. I think that's probably what's happening there. Okay, so Avi Loeb is looking. He's dredged this stuff up from the bottom of the ocean. Said, okay, here it is. Analyse it. People have analysed it. It's not interstellar. It's coal ash. Okay, so hats off to Avi Loeb for trying at least. Now, I'm going to show you something else, and this has got to do with Avi Loeb's Galileo project. So, because of the clunky way Firefox works, I'm going to have to stop this and record another bit, which I'll tack on, of course. Okay, so this is... The Galileo project is the first scientific research program in search for extraterrestrial objects near Earth. Taking the path not taken, it might pick some low-hanging fruit. Well, at least he's being honest with his expectations here, because this is the science package for the Galileo project. He's duplicated this, and there's one or two of them around the world, but this is Figure 1, the all-sky Galileo Observatory for UAP on the roof of the Harvard College Observatory in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay, so what do we have here? And we have Pac-Man, okay. We've got a shed. Now the shed is going to contain all this high-tech equipment, no doubt, for detecting these alien spacecraft. But if we look at what he's got here, so he's got a tracking camera. He's got a tracking camera, this little thing here, tracking camera. So the thing's going to have to be within visual range of the roof of Harvard University. Bit optimistic. He's got a spectrum analyzer. Now this is a little disc cone, looks like a little disc cone antenna, very wide band receiving antenna. So he's going to have that connected to an SDR receiver, wideband receiver, which will show us with a spectrum analyzer, which will show you any spikes in the radio spectrum between, this frequency and that frequency, whatever he's set the parameters at. Again, this is low-hanging fruit is right, because that they'll be picking up all kinds of stuff all the time. Of course, there's no guarantee that an alien spacecraft would be radiating anything in the electromagnetic spectrum. What else we got here? Oh, we got a microphone. Got a microphone on a stick here. So if an alien spacecraft flies over the roof, it can't be that sensitive, of course. It's going to pick up all the traffic and aircraft and everything else, isn't it? So the alien spacecraft is going to have to actually overfly the university there. And most UFO reports, they say, it was completely silent. As big as a football field. It was only 20 feet above my head, but it didn't make a single sound. Again, low-hanging fruit. If you don't listen, you don't know. And here you have, passive radar. Okay, passive radar. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that it's not squirting out any pulses. So that could mean that it's actually listening for. It could be another receiver receiving. Either way, is going to have a receiver on it. But whether it is expecting to receive radar pulses, again, might more than likely get radar pulses from aircraft. Depends what's around. But if he's using things like radio and television signals, if he's receiving radio and television signals like radio stations and television stations, so you could have one north, one south, one east, one west, and he's receiving those signals. And then what happens is, as something flies through those signals, the signals reflect off it. And you can look at the phase angles of the signals and say, yeah, okay, that's something that's moving, left to right, and blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't be able to tell the altitude, but would be able to tell there was an object moving, how far away it was, and all that sort of stuff. That's how passive radar works. So again, the low-hanging fruit. I would think that all these devices, I think the microphone is probably a little bit ridiculous, but, no more ridiculous really, I suppose, than the tracking camera. That's going to look at what streaks in the sky, maybe. I've never been to Harvard. I don't know what the light pollution's like there. But this looks like the sort of thing you could put on your house, really. I mean, would you really expect to put a microphone, a camera, a couple of antennas on the roof of your house and connect it up to the appropriate equipment and detect an alien spacecraft flying over your house, or maybe over one of your neighbours? There wouldn't be a huge range to this thing. So I suppose Avi Loeb will say, well, it's better than nothing. In fact, he does. That's exactly what he says, isn't it? It says it might pick some low-hanging fruit. So realistically, the chances of this detecting, filming, hearing, recording, tracking an alien spacecraft is, I would say, zero. Not only is it extremely unlikely alien spacecraft are coming here, but to get one to actually fly over his array of instruments here, after it had got to Earth, after crossing light years of space, I would say is I'd have more chance of winning the lotto. So there we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I thought I'd better just stick another video together and comment on some of the recent events that I thought were quite interesting. Nothing else seems to be happening as far as I can see. I've sort of looked around and there's no other exciting news in the UAP world. Everyone seems to have forgotten about the war in Ukraine because of what's going on in Israel and Gaza. So all the UAP stuff has gone on the back burner, and I think poor old all the poor old UFO fanboys that have been jumping up and down with excitement, saying, "Oh, disclosure's coming! It's coming! It's coming! It's coming!" What's that guy? Is that Bassett? I think he should stick to his licorice all sorts, to be perfectly honest. He's got no chance. No chance of hearing the government disclosing ET's visiting. Absolutely no chance, because ET isn't visiting. There is not one shred of tangible evidence to support ET coming here. All there is fanciful yarns that get embellished and embellished and embellished over time. Okay, well, as always, if you've struggled through the video all the way to this point, many thanks for watching. Hope I haven't made you seasick with the terribly dodgy camera work, and maybe I'll catch you again.